Hey everybody, Jason from iAnimate here. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're doing fantastic. So in this week's snippet, we're going to talk about the quadruped walk and how it relates to our biped. So when I'm approaching a quadruped walk, especially if I'm plotting out a shot, like an acting shot or a creature type shot where I'm actually having to make the dog walk through space, usually what I try to do is do the footprints in the snow, basically our contact poses, right? And then if the dog is walking at full speed, we will have the back end either a half a step in front or half a step behind the front legs. Now, what I mean by that is if you're in a contact pose on the front, then the back end will be in a passing position. And this is when we're walking at full speed before we get to a trot phase, right? So if the dog is walking at full speed and it wants to go faster, it's going to go into a trot, like make it a little bit faster. And then from there into a canter and from there into a gallop. But as if it's working at full speed, basically we'll have the contact in the front, passing position in the back, right? So the back paws come forward and release the front legs, right? So if we're thinking about this in relationship to a biped, have a look at our biped right here. If we're doing a contact pose here, right? Contact right there. So this is the right leg, left leg, right? So I'm doing basically the same thing here. So this is the right leg, left leg, right? So the different phases right here, if you think about the dog and sort of split it in half, this is sort of like our passing position on the back, right? And our contact on the front, right? So this is either half a step ahead or half a step behind, whichever way you want to think about it, okay? So if we're coming from here, so that the main keys that I like to think about is the contact and the passive position. So just look at the front side first, right? So we go from the contact pose down to the squash, then up to the passive position. The passive position is basically our it could be like slightly higher than our contact pose, but basically if you make them around the same, you won't go wrong, right? So this will be basically like the far leg over here, like the left side. This rear paw comes forward and releases this foot, right? So basically it almost takes the place of where that foot was if you're plotting it through space, okay? So basically like this spot right there, that's where that foot is going to land, okay? Releases that leg, right? Same thing over here, right? So this is our pass position on our biped. Then we come up to the up position here, right? So the up position is basically coming up to the highest point, same with our biped. So it's basically a little higher than our passing position, right? So you get that up point and then we come down to the contact again, right? Contact is our mid position here, right? Now, when I'm thinking about this is the fastest phase, right, before we get to a trot, right? So if this character was walking slower, then this foot would remain on the ground for a little bit longer, right? So you basically have all four legs down at the same time, right? So basically like this would make contact and this would be back here, right? So if the character was walking more cautiously, I would do that. But this is basically the full speed, right? And then usually when I think about it, if I really want to break them up a little bit more, I usually favor the back leg in the pass position a little bit more towards the back. And sometimes I'll actually make this one a little bit further forward. You know, it's like it actually might favor the forward part, right? That way, like we can get different gaits in the actual walk, different variations of it, okay? So the overlap on the head is the same thing that I would do all the time, right? So the highs and lows would be at the same angle. And then on the way down, I'll drag. And on the way up, I'll drag the other way, right? So we get this overlap again, right? So, and the thing about the overlap is you don't want to do too much of this because you want to make sure that the character's got a good, strong neck. And if you do too much overlap, it can almost make it feel like there's no focus. And it can almost feel like there's no bones in the character's neck, right? So keep your overlap to a minimum and keep it kind of contained, right? That way it'll feel a little bit more naturalistic. All right. And that is how I approach our walk. Let's have a look at it full speed.